Good evening, cats and kittens, pups and pooches, guys and gals. Oh, I already said cats. M3's looking at me like I left him out or something. Um, it's Susie Q96, and I got some bad news today. I went for my follow up exam from my eye surgery, and I kind of knew this was coming because they had told me that I should be seeing better within 2 or 3 days. Hey, Spray Can, how are you? Um, hi, Mary. So, anyway, they had told me that I should be seeing better within 2 or 3 days, and as of yesterday, I could only see a very, very small strip across the bottom of my eye. Hey, James. So, anyway, I went this morning for the exam, and the actual cataract surgery, the ophthalmologist said everything looked good, that the lens was perfectly placed and it was clear and it was healing well, but yet I still can't see. So they ran a bunch more tests and came back in, and what I was told was that the problem is not with my eyeball itself, it is with the fact that the endocrinologist, which is a thyroid specialist, has for almost a year now failed to treat me for thyroid eye disease or Graves' disease. And now that disease has caused so much inflammation behind my eye that the pressure from it is pushing on my optic nerve, which is why I still can't see. Now, I have been fighting with this endocrinologist for months. There is a medication he could be giving me that would have stopped this, but he kept pissing around and ordering more tests, even though 3 other doctors had already diagnosed me with this condition. So the end result now is that even though I went through the surgery, I still can't see. I looked and checked with my insurance, and there is not another endocrinologist or a Graves specialist in my network or even in my state. So the only way I'm going to get any treatment for this is to go to North Carolina, which my insurance is not going to pay for. I don't know if anybody down there will even see me because my insurance won't pay for it. I think I can get Medicare to pay for 80% of it. So they might see me. My ophthalmologist is going to be calling the endocrinologist, and these two have been fighting back and forth about this for several months now. But he's going to call him and tell him he needs to make me a referral to a specialist ASAP, and that does not mean 3 freaking months from now. Actually, what the other thing he said was, I'm going to call him and give him a big push. I didn't realize I was delivering babies here, where I'm having to tell people to push, but that was what he said. It was the only thing that made me laugh all day. I am having a hard time reading the stream. If I cover the bad eye, it seems to help me focus the other one a little better. Um, Hi, Mikey. Hi, Iffy Signals. How are you? And Yeah, they can turn me away in a different state. They don't have to see me. But we're going to work on that tomorrow. But for right now, I don't see me being able to see. No pun intended. Um, I don't find myself in the position where I'm going to be able to see anytime soon. So a couple of things are going to have to happen. I'm going to have to raise a bunch of money into that end. I'm going to have to sell my car, which I can't drive anyway. And I'm probably going to be stuck here in Virginia a lot longer than I anticipated being here. But I am just going to start selling my furniture, selling everything off, because now I'm going to have to pay somebody to take me to Michigan, but I'm still going. Because if I don't, I'm going to end up dead, because this place has the absolute worst medical care I have ever encountered, and I'm almost 70 years old. Uh, so, anyway, that's the situation as it is now. Hopefully, the ophthalmologist can get me into the Graves' disease specialist within a few days. He said that it's very critical that I get in there. So maybe I'll know something better by the end of the week, but I've got somebody coming over tomorrow to try and help me get the last of the packages out from my big giveaway. And other than posting some brief updates, and M3, who got a new banana in the mail today. Thank you to whomever sent it. It came via Amazon and has no name of who ordered it. So thank you to whomever. We're gonna give that to him tomorrow and try to see what he thinks of a fresh nanner. He's still playing with the other one though. It's pretty amazing. He's squished it down to about half its original size, where it looks more like a taco shell. So, hey, package. Yeah, I'm gonna try, Mary. I have a call into. I have a care coordinator that helps me navigate with the insurance company, because I have so many issues. I have 9 different autoimmune disorders, and it sucks. And yeah, he's a piece of work. Right now, he's sitting over by where I have a little rug that, if you've watched the M3 banana videos, I put all the stuff down on this rug that says "You had me at meow." Well, he is sitting right across from it on another rug that says "Feeling groovy," and giving me the evil cat eye, because I think he heard me say Bana. His ears just went up like he thinks he can spell. Oh, gee, I'm sorry to hear that, Mikey. So, anyway, I'm just letting everybody know, because I had planned on trying to do some shows here in the next week, based on having been told that after this surgery I should be able to see much better. And unfortunately, it is not the case. So, and it is no fault of the surgeon who did the cataract surgery. The cataract part looks good. It's what's going on behind my eyeball that is bad. And the endocrinologist had months before this surgery came up to address this issue and just kept putting it off and putting it off and saying he wanted more tests and spent 3 months trying to get old records from Michigan from 2015, 2016. And the doctor's office there had already told him several times they could not find those records, that they believed those records were already purged. Yet instead of just ordering the tests over again, he chose to just keep dragging this out, and now I am blind in my right eye as a result. And even my ophthalmologist is not sure it can be repaired. My next inquiry is going to be, is there a medical malpractice attorney in this town? And if not, where's the closest one? Because I'm going after this guy. This is just unbelievable. And the wonderful thing, he documented it for me, because I have one of those things through the hospital that he works through, one of those My Chart things where they send you all of the stuff from your appointments, all your test results, everything. So I have everything. And I can tell you the first time he saw me was February of 2021. So this has dragged out for over a year. Are you kidding me? I'm trying to laugh about it, but it's kind of hard to laugh when they're telling you you may not ever get your eyesight back because somebody else screwed up. I didn't do anything wrong. God, I'm sorry. I didn't want to get on here and cry. I just wanted to let everybody know what was happening. So I'm just going to be popping in periodically. If anybody wants to help me pay for the out of state doctor or the lawyer, my PayPal and cash, all of those things are somewhere in the stream. I can't really see the stream, but the bot prints them. Yeah, I'd like to take him somewhere besides the bank, Mary, because people like that, he gives me the creeps when I even go in his office. He gets really offended if another doctor calls him and tells him something different than what he thinks is going on. He has been rude to my ophthalmologist on more than one occasion and yelled at me because the ophthalmologist ordered a different test than he wanted me to have. I mean, I don't even know what to do. I've never had medical care that was this awful before. That's why I've been trying to get out of Virginia for a year now. And the money for me to move is still sitting in the account where it's supposed to be. Um, there's about 3 grand in there. 1,100 of it that was raised by the coin crew early on. Um, the rest, I have sold things on eBay, or people have sent me 5 or 10 or $20 here or there for that purpose. And oh, thank you, Spray Can. In fact, Spray Can sent me a whole treasure chest a while back full of jewelry, and some of it I gave away and some of it I was able to sell and put that money in there. So I think I put about 30 $40 in there from the treasure chest, and then I gave the rest of the stuff away, or most of it. during my 12 days of Christmas. Um, I'm just, but if my eyesight does not come back within the next month or so, I'm going to have to change the whole plan on moving to Michigan, where I'm going to have to hire a mover to take my things up there, and I'm going to have to find somebody to transport me. I don't know about flying with this condition. I'm going to have to discuss that with the ophthalmologist because I understand that flying puts more pressure on your eyes. Oh, I have been my own advocate for a long time, Mary. That started back in 2010, and I have every medical record from every single thing I have been through since 2010. It consists of two bankers boxes and four plastic file things sorted out by state because I have lived in four states since 2010. I have lived in Florida, which is where I'm from, and I actually had to leave Florida because their Medicaid system would not pay for one of my meds. So I got in a clinical trial near where one of my good friends lives in Michigan and I'm going to plug this place because they saved my life and allowed me to walk again. A place in Grand Blanc, Michigan called Silverton Skin Institute. They, I can't even begin to tell you what a great place that is. But so when I moved up there, uh, I have several years of medical records from there. And then my house, I bought a mobile home, which I loved. But the Flint River decided it loved it more and flooded from so much melted snow. It took out the whole center of my trailer in September when there was like still a foot of snow on the ground, and there was no way to fix that in the middle of winter. So I just had to give the trailer up, and so I moved down to Georgia, which was the right. I was 12 miles from Florida, and I had pretty good medical care in Georgia. I gotta say, I had the exact same insurance company, the exact same policy, but the care was far superior. I had some health issues, but they were addressed quickly and efficiently until COVID hit. And then things kind of went to heck. And I had moved down there so that I could help a friend of mine who lived in Florida who pretty much knew he was dying. And he passed away in March of 2019, had a massive stroke. So then I didn't really have any reason to be down there anymore, except that the medical was pretty good. And then my sister talked me into moving to Virginia, and she has the same insurance company, but she has a very different policy than I do. And she can go into North Carolina because hers does not depend on any Medicaid funding. I cannot because a good part of my coverage is through Virginia Medicaid. So I'm stuck here where I have to go up to 150 miles away one way just to see specialists. I have to go all the way to Roanoke. And those of you who know Dawn the metal detector, uh, she's from Roanoke, but she lives in Texas, and she's been really good about telling me what doctors are good and which ones aren't good. Her family is still there, and she highly recommended the guy that did my cataract, and according to what I've been told, he did a great job. But this other doctor has dropped the ball, and I'm going after him because I can show I have every document, every single thing going all the way back to the first time he saw me, which was a year ago. So they might think that the sending all your documents on the computer is a good thing, but guess what? It's also a hanging noose because I can show every test, indicating that I have this disease. And he even called me a couple of days ago and said from my last lab results that he thought that I should see the Graves specialist. And I told him, I said, you know what? You've been telling me that for 6 months, but you still have not referred me, you know. And I wish I had the information then that I have now, because I'd have ripped him a new one. Which is why I did not call him today. I am letting my ophthalmologist call him and explain to him what the situation is and the urgency, because I have to be referred to this specialist by an endocrinologist. Even though it is an eye related thing, it's thyroid related as well, so the referral has to come from him. I am going to discuss it tomorrow with my care coordinator and see if there's some kind of workaround. Yep, that's their big mistake, Mary, is when you have that patient portal, you can print out everything that any doctor, any lab has done, any imaging things. For the most part, I've noticed that my imagings are not showing up in there, and I'm going to call about that as well because I want them. Although I believe they did send them to my primary care and I can get them from her. She is the absolute best, and she is really pissed off. My primary care is so cool. She makes house calls. And I don't know what I would do if she didn't, because I haven't been able to drive since November. I mean, I probably could, but I don't feel safe doing it. Um, because I have had some bouts of double vision with this, and that just isn't good. So uh anyway, that is the update. And I wish I had better news, because I had in my head, having been told that I should be seeing better within a few days, and that it would continue to improve. I had sort of in my head planned on taking a very short trip on my birthday to metal detect, not for very long because I know I'm out of shape, but just to go. I have a friend, some of you may have seen him occasionally in my live stream. His name is Anthony Newton. We call him Fig. And Fig is my metal detecting buddy that I met down at the park when I first moved here. And he actually, that day I wasn't particularly well, and he came upon me at the end of my hunt, and he saw I was having a little struggle digging my targets. So he actually took my shovel and started digging my targets for me. And if we go detecting and I start pooping out, he'll put his equipment down and come help me dig up my targets. He's an awesome, awesome man. And I was going to hoping I could call him this week and say, "Hey, Tony, you want to go metal detect?" Because I saw him. We had snow on the ground a couple weeks ago, and my friend Sandy took me up to the grocery store to buy some food, and I ran into Fig in the grocery store, oddly enough, in the produce section, which is where figs belong. And the first thing he asked me, because there was like 5, 6 inches of snow on the ground, and he asked me if I was ready to go uh, do a little digging with my shovel. And I looked at him and I said, "Got the wrong kind of shovel for this." And we were laughing. But, we were expecting me to be able to see again by now. And so it doesn't look like I'm going to get to go for my birthday. But we will see how quickly they can get me into that specialist, because from what I have been told by multiple doctors is that Graves' disease is fairly easily treated. There are two different medications that work well. And if we can get this pressure off my eye before it does some permanent damage, I have the potential to regain some, if not all, of my sight. So, believe me, there's going to be a lot of people getting an earful of a lot of stuff tomorrow about this, because this is just not acceptable. And part of it goes squarely back to my insurance company not getting me timely referrals and not following up on things that they're supposed to. I had 4 care coordinators as a team. All of them stopped communicating in November. And I kept complaining and complaining, and they finally assigned me a new one about 2 weeks ago. So this poor girl, she's very nice and she's trying as hard as she can, but they dumped a bunch of stuff on her. So, but I was in contact with her today and gave her a brief summary of what was going on. But I'm going to call her back tomorrow and give her the full report. And I did tell her that I was going to have my ophthalmologist call her in regards to the situation, so that he can emphasize to her how critical it is that I get in to see this specialist as soon as possible. So that is it in a nutshell. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I can do my regular show simply because I can't really read the dates and stuff on the coins. I have another idea for something else I'm going to maybe do on my that I can even do that. It's all ideas bouncing around in my head. So anyway, that's what's happening. I wish I had better news. Uh After I talk to a few people tomorrow, I will probably come back on and do another update. But it looks like I'm probably going to have to pay a doctor in North Carolina, which sounds like it's terribly far away, but in actuality, it's less than 30 miles. I am right on the Virginia North Carolina border. So it looks like I'm going to have to find a doctor over there and see how much my Medicare will cover, and see if I can make some payment arrangements or something to pay off the balance so that I can get in there and get the treatment started, because it's not looking good here. Thank you, James Eller. I know. And by the way, James, how's your girlfriend doing? Is she doing any better with her issue? I still have her on my prayer list, along with a few other people. Uh, I just added archaeology Mikey's grandfather, who took a tumble this week and broke a bone, and he's 93, so that's not good. Uh, all right, guys, I'm going to run. I need to call my brother real quick, get me something to eat. I just took my meds, and then I'm going to go lie down and try to calm down. I spent 2 days last week in the emergency room for something not related to my eyes. I have developed AFib, which is an irregular heartbeat, and I landed in there twice for that. So it's not been a good health week for me, but I'm not a quitter, and I'm just going to keep barking at them. Years ago, I had a problem with the city of Tampa, and I made so many phone calls that one day I was sitting there and the phone rang, and it was the mayor of Tampa. Tampa's a big place. It was the mayor of Tampa, and she wanted to know what she could do to rectify the situation because I was drawing too much attention to the error that the city had made. And so, anyway, I called back a few days later because nothing had been resolved, and I heard her. The secretary did not get me put on hold so I could hear everything that was going on in the mayor's office. And she told the mayor who was on the phone, and the mayor goes, "Oh my God, it's the pit bull." So that kind of became my nickname after that. If you get on my bad side, I turn into the pit bull, and I will take a chunk out of your posterior. So the pit bull is going to be coming out tomorrow. I do it in a nice manner, but I don't back off. My personal theme song, other than 96 Tears, which is kind of a revenge song in itself. But my other one is Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down. So if these people think I'm going to let this go, they're wrong. My eyesight is extremely important. And I'm going to call them every day if I have to. Every one of them. I'll put them on freaking speed dial. They have pissed me off now. Because once the ophthalmologist told me what he did about this situation, and I came to the full realization that I did not have to go through this for the past 6 months. Yep, pit bull time. So the pit bull's going to go take a doggy nap. M3 is crashed out in front of his little heater. He thinks that's like his. So, James, if you would post her name again so we can get the other people to um, put her on their prayers. I can see the screen, but I'm having a hard time typing things in. And I have to get into the other screen where my prayer list is. And I can't really read it unless I get out of here. So if you would post her name for us, I'm sure everybody in here will jump on the prayer wagon for her as well. She's been sick for quite a while now. God bless her. And another person that's getting ready to go, Stacy. I couldn't remember if it was Stacy or Tracy. I knew it was one of the two, and I didn't want to put it out there wrong. Um, and I also just found out very recently that my friend Digging with Deej is going to have a bunch of oral surgery done the same thing happened to her teeth during her cancer treatment that happened to mine during my ulcerative colitis surgery. And that is that a lot of the medications that they give you will undermine the root system of your teeth and cause them to fracture. So that's why I lost my teeth, in case those of you who have actually seen me without my dentures. And apparently, Deej is going to have to go through the same thing. And it is hell. So if y'all would pray for her as well. I got some others on my list. Maybe I'll come on and do a whole list of that. I got a lot of sick people, and I credit a lot of that to just not adequate medical care, but some of it is just unavoidable. So if y'all would add Deej and Stacy into your prayers, and also Mikey's grandfather. He did not tell me his grandfather's name. So, Mikey, what's your grandpa's name? So we can put him on the list too. I wasn't big on the power of prayer until I had that pulmonary embolism, and by all rights, I should not have survived, but I did. And that could only be the work of a higher power, because it sure wasn't the work of the medical staff at my local hospital. So, anyway, gang, that's. You just call him Poppy. Okay, we'll call him Mikey's Poppy. So, there we go. We'll put Mikey's Poppy on there. He fall down and hurt himself. Uh, Thank you, Mary. I appreciate everybody that has stopped in today. Y'all have been diehard supporters. Some of you since day one. I saw Iffy Signals in here earlier, and I got to tell you this: I would never have had a channel if it were not for Iffy Signals. I made a couple of videos with my iPhone, but because I am suffering from some disabilities, I was having a hard time holding the iPhone. And Iffy Signals sent me, he had upgraded to a better GoPro, and he sent me his old GoPro and another Canon camera. And because of that, I was able to do better videos. And really, I would not probably have kept making videos or kept a channel at all had I not received those cameras. And so he is like a real mentor of my channel. And yeah, he's been here since day one. And several of these other people have been here for a long time. Thank you, Spray Can. I will know more about what I'm going to have to do after I make those calls tomorrow, and if I'm going to have to uh, pay to go see a specialist in another state, then that's what I'm going to do, because I just can't. Uh, I have to try. I have to do whatever I can to save my eyesight, and if that's what it takes, one of the things that's going to happen is I'm going to start selling off my music equipment. Maybe keep an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, and my little practice amp, and sell everything else. I can't really go out and play anymore, so I don't really need the big amp. And I have a couple other guitars that I inherited. And so, anyway, whatever I got to do to raise money, but we'll find out tomorrow if I'm going to have to go out of state. But yeah, I can see that this thing, whatever the outcome is going to end up costing a bunch of money that I just don't have, and I cannot touch that Michigan fund that is for my move, which still is going to happen because the medical care for me is just far superior there, and I do not want um the big amp. What is the big amp? It is a, oh god, I know it's a Fender. I can't think right now. Let me let me think for a second. I haven't used it for a couple of years, and it's just been sitting there with a cover over it. Um, Whoops! Almost took myself out of the stream here. Hang on. Uh, I have a picture of it somewhere. Okay, let me open another window here so I can. I think I know the name of it, but I've already taken my meds, so I'm a little dopey. It is a Fender Princeton Chorus, the one with the red knobs, which is a little more expensive than the ones without the red knobs. This one is, the price on it used seems to range from 199 to 279. That's the used price, because I did research this thing, and I've even seen them up to uh 399. It just depends. Now the new ones cost $1,200. So I don't know what year mine is. It was actually a gift to me from my guitar teacher when I lived in Florida. The day, because I'm a rhythm guitar player. Yeah, and so anyway, uh, it was gifted to me because I'm a rhythm player, and I just stink at lead guitar. And one day I was in there, and he decided to throw me the lead, and I actually made it through this lead break. And another one of the teachers who used to be a roadie for the Allman Brothers was standing outside the door, and I've known that guy for years, and his jaw dropped in total amazement that I actually made it through a lead without a mistake. And so when that lesson was over, he came in with a Blues Brothers type hat and stuck it on my head and said, "Okay, here's your official Blues Girl hat." And then my instructor gave me the amp I had been playing through. I don't know how old it is. I would have to look. Um, but it, up until I moved up here, there was not a mark on it. Now there's a little snag in the mesh that the movers did, but it's nothing critical. I used to take it and play at this blues jam down in Orlando, and the guy who ran the jam the first time I brought it in there came over in the middle of a song and told me, "Man, that amp sounds good." I never had any kind of a big amp like that before. I always had some little practice amp, and truly, yeah, it probably is worth 500 or better in Canada. And for that reason, I may hold on to it until I get to Michigan because Canada's right across the water. Like, if I can keep protesting truckers off the Ambassador Bridge, I could sell it in Canada and somebody could come pick it up. But anyway, I have a lot of equipment that I don't use. I do have a couple guitars that I do play periodically. I had stopped playing for a while until I started watching Can Can Collectibles, and he inspired me to break out my acoustic, which I'm still trying to work my calluses back up, but I don't think I'm going to be going out playing anything at this point where I'm going to need that amp. I have a smaller and almost never used. Yeah, it's a beefy little amp. It sounds great. I mean, I love it, but the chances of me using it much anymore are pretty slim. And I have a small PV practice amp that I got from my brother that I jokingly say it was only driven to by a little old lady on Sunday to church. And it's really sort of true because it was something my brother used for his church with the red knobs. That is correct. Absolutely, that is correct. The reason my guitar teacher gave me the amp was it was the amp that he used to use when he played in bars, and it smelled like cigarettes. Well, I used to manage a dry cleaners, and I learned a lot of all natural ways to remove the smell of cigarette smoke. And it hasn't smelled like cigarettes or beer since 3 days after I got it. And so I ended up with this absolutely perfect amp. And he jokingly asked me if I would give it back to him now that it didn't stink. But uh, anyway, yeah, it is a super nice amp, and I will try this week to get more specifics on it. I used to know all that stuff, but I've had that amp for a long time. Well, this one is in really, really good shape. It really is, and so we will see. Um, like I said, I'll get the specifics off of it. Maybe, maybe plug my Frankenstein Dean into it. I have the coolest guitar. My now ex husband found this guitar in pieces on a trash pile. And he grabbed it thinking, well, because he used to make guitars out of crazy things like toilet seats and waterbed frames and just all kinds of stuff. So when he originally grabbed it, he was just grabbing it for the neck, and then he realized everything was there. So he just put the guitar back together, and it was pretty good for a cheap guitar. And we both belonged to a group called DOA, which is the Dean Owners Association. And I ended up in the hospital. And one of the things that the doctors told me was, I couldn't pick up anything that weighed over 10 pounds. Well, this guitar weighed a little over 11. And I happen to be friends with the now deceased owner of Dean Guitars. And while I was still in the hospital, one of the, well, two of the guys from the custom shop took this little $99 Dean Vendetta, and they completely reworked it. I ended up with pickups that are the same ones that went into the Leslie West custom Dean guitar. They reworked the entire guitar for me, and they got the weight of it down to 9.6 ounces. I mean, 9 pounds, 6 ounces, which meant I could pick it up. So we went to, I didn't know what had happened to it. My husband wouldn't say where it was. He said, "You're not allowed to play it, so why do you care?" And then when we went to the annual DOA, they took me back to the custom shop, and one of their guys, I think he still works there, was the head of the custom shop, named Pat Baker. Pat was putting the finishing touches on it, and they gave it back to me at 9 pounds, 6 ounces. And I will never get rid of that guitar. It, for a $99 guitar, it's not a $99 guitar anymore. And so I'm going to keep that one. I will never part with that until I am deceased. And then I'm going to keep one acoustic. I have an acoustic and an acoustic electric. One's a Washburn, the other one's a Dean. But yeah, I have not used that amp for quite a while. So it may or may not go, but I have a lot of other things that would be on the sell it off list before I get to that. Because that really is an incredible amp. I really like it. And then I have some effects pedals that I'm not really going to be using anymore. I got to go through them, figure out what works, what doesn't. Uh, I got a lot of music equipment. I've got a couple of good mics, cables. I mean, cables out the yin yang. Uh, and the thing about it is, I'm really not a very good player. I have equipment that I shouldn't even own, but I inherited a bunch of it from a friend of mine who did a brief stint as lead guitarist for Edgar Winter. He was not on any of Edgar's albums, but he toured with Edgar. He was the replacement for Floyd Radford, who is also a friend of mine, who was the guitarist on the Edgar Winter's White Trash album. And then Floyd wanted to go home and go to college. He didn't like touring. He was only 18. And Edgar told him, "Well, I'll let you go if you can find me a guitar player that's as good as you and can learn this material in 2 weeks." And so my friend Lee Swimmer, who was a good friend of Floyd's, had been in bands with Floyd before, sent him up there. Well, I took care of Lee Swimmer right up until they pulled the plug on him at the hospital. And his mother gave me everything that was in his apartment, all the guitars, everything. We raffled some of them off to pay for his final expenses, and I ended up with 3 or 4 of them, which over time I have sold them all except the Dean Exotica electric acoustic, which was the last guitar he bought. And I I don't play it. I can't decide if I want to part with it, but I don't play it. So that's another one of those things like the amp that it's I can sell it, but I don't really want to. Um, I do have 3 or 4 gold rings that I found metal detecting. I'm gonna check tomorrow on the gold prices. They may have to go, but my eyesight is more important, and I have pictures of all of them. So, and videos actually of a couple of them when they were found. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I keep trying to get off here, keep running my yap. But anyway, thank you, Dimebag, for doing a little research on it. I can get you more information in the morning, but I will have to go in there and take the cover off of it and, get the date. And I'll probably take a couple pictures of it in case I do have to sell it. But who knows? I may even plug that Vendetta into it and play a few chords. We shall see. Might not be tomorrow that I do that because I'm going to be on the phone most of the day chewing people out for letting this happen in the first place. So anyway, I will update y'all after I talk to the doctors and the insurance people tomorrow, and we'll see what's happening. So anyway, I appreciate everybody that has stopped in and everybody that's going to watch this later. I hope I don't sound too pathetic. I'm just kind of in shock because everybody told me, "Oh, it's all going to be fine. You'll be able to see better in just a few days." And I can't see anything except a very, very maybe 1/4 of what I'm supposed to be seeing from the bottom. If it were the top, it would be a lot better. But right now, it's not good. So there we go. Uh, I'm gonna run get me some food and some sleep and tackle all this mess in the morning. Again, I appreciate you guys so much and much love to you. If you can tune back in tomorrow, I should know maybe what it's going to cost out of pocket to try to get this fixed in an expedient manner. Right now, I have to go all the way to Radford. No, I'm sorry. Is it Radford? No, Salem, Virginia, which is almost 100 miles away, to the eye clinic up there just to get an idea of how bad the damage is. And then this endocrinologist is in Radford, Virginia, which is about 80 miles away. This is one way trips. And yet there is a doctor I could see who is only 25 miles away, 25 or 30, but it's across the North Carolina line. It is just absolutely stupid. But I'm going to find out what it's going to cost, and I will update everybody on all of the happenings tomorrow night. I am just too disheveled right now to even go on camera, but I may do it tomorrow just so you guys can see what my eye looks like. It's kind of gross, but I've had people say I'm faking all this, and clearly that is not true. And anybody that really knows me knows that's not true. So, but it just stinks. People got to be stupid trolls. So I'm going to take my tired behind off of here, and I will come back on tomorrow and let everybody know what is happening. Probably around 6 or so because that's when my usual Wednesday night show would be anyway. So, all right, gang, thanks for listening to me babble on here, and I'll check back in tomorrow. Good night, everybody. Much love to you all. M3 says, banana. Oh, yeah, I might do that tomorrow too. Uh, More, this probably is not a good time for you to be soliciting for new subscribers when we are talking about my uh, bad news from the doctors. It probably just isn't a good time. Normally, I wouldn't mind, but right now, it's just not good. And I know you just came in and you have no idea what's going on. So, anyway, good night, everybody. Bye bye.